Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gaming Banter with David and Ryan, Episode 8! Anyways, today we're going to be talking about a wonderful topic, girl gaming, and specifically, we're going to talk about why there aren't more girl gamers, and is it possible for girls to be hardcore gamers, or is it just kind of, the casual kind of point of view? And we're joined by our writer, Sunday Avery, who, as it just so happens, is a girl gamer. Go figure. So,
A real one? When did you have the operation?
Oh.
You have to be originally. Yeah. Oh, where's my laugh track?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so our first topic, I guess we'll just talk about World of Warcraft, because, I mean, for me personally, the time that I saw the most girls playing games was in World of Warcraft, and honestly, I didn't see. For me, it was mostly girls that were playing with their husbands or girlfriends playing with their boyfriends, and they were the healer and he was the tank. So, I mean, how would you respond to that, Sunday?
I think I can't speak for your experience playing, but I played World of Warcraft in college during the summertime. Essentially, me and my friends would play in a guild together, and I had another girlfriend and one guy friend at the time playing. My friend was a rogue, so I don't know, she did a good job of it, and I was a mage because I think that my DPS was amazing, and so I mean it's an easy point to counter immediately by saying, well, there are examples of girls who play all classes, but I think something to note is that I never revealed my gender, and my name didn't reflect my gender, and in fact my guild didn't know about the fact that I was a girl until we got microphones. So
What?
this man has a very high voice.
Did you try to fake it at first? Hey guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just didn't want it to be discussed, and the assumption was that I was a guy. I think I was referred to in a he pronoun when they talked about me in guild chat, and I didn't correct them. And the reason why that was because my friend Melissa, who played the rogue, they knew she was a girl from the get-go, and I think even with good intentions, they would often offer her the first pick of the loot, and I thought that was so annoying that I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to be look, I don't need you to pity me, I'm just playing, but I also didn't, I didn't want any bias in any direction, whether good or bad. So, so yeah, that's my experience of WoW.
So,
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, I know a guy. Every time I say I know a guy, people think I'm talking about myself in third person. But he would always play female characters because he said people would help you more. Like in games, if you needed help, you just play a female character and you get more help in games. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I also know guys who play female characters because if you're going to look at a screen, you'd rather see a female than a male. So they pick the avatar based on what they want to see. So it is interesting what defines or what reflects gender in game is based on a ton of stuff. There is, especially since catfish and stuff like that, the assumption that any woman on the internet is probably just a man trying to trick you.
There's not even one woman who uses the internet. It's true.
They're trying to catfish you.
Right. Stop it.
This is a man.
I'm a man.
You turn off a video filter. You're like
I'm a really scary man. Just oh.
Hey guys.
I have a voice distorter I rip off.
There's no women on the internet.
Yeah, I actually would make my characters. That's funny you mentioned the girl thing. I'd make them really grody men, or I'd make them non-human characters, like the orcs and stuff. Just because I just wanted to be perceived as very scary and gross. I guess maybe that was just my preference. And then I didn't want anyone to make an exception for me no matter what, even if it was just a little one, oh, she's a girl. I just wanted to play usually and raid and get. So I could get the weird Oktoberfest mount or something, whatever the goal was. So, I just wanted to go through it without any hitch. Not that I just didn't want the notice, I guess, or whatever else. If I was doing a bad job in a raid or something, which would sometimes happen, I didn't want them to be like, oh, it's because she's a girl. I wanted it to be like, oh, because she's just a stupid idiot. She went in too fast or something. So, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess my question would be, whenever I was raiding in World of Warcraft and played PvP and did arenas and stuff like that, and our team was pretty good, we had to have voice communication. So, like, how long were you able to go without people realizing, hey, this is a girl?
This is a girl.
I'm just connecting.
I'm done. Yeah, like, I think, so I didn't really get into all of that until I got into the higher levels, which I forgot what the cap was at that time. It was like probably 3 years ago. And so I got to that point, and then when I finally joined a guild where we were using mics, like at first I was just joining random groups, which, like, as we all know, sucks. So you have to kind of have some people that you know well, or else someone's just going to do weird nonsense, like, all the time. So it wasn't really until I got to those higher levels, and then I knew that I wanted to be involved in raiding and stuff, that I got the mic and, like, committed to staying with my guild. And then, even then, only my guild knew that I was a girl. And like, kind of, there was a few weird situations where I was just chatting with some people, like, I would often quest with them as we were leveling up, and, like, guys would tell me stuff, like, about their girlfriends, and, like, I would offer advice, but I don't think they knew I was a girl giving them, like, probably girl advice. And so, like, I still wonder about those guys. Like, the whole time they thought they meant, like, a bro friend, and it's just me being like, I think you're being mean to your girlfriend. Like, you are,
To clarify, girlfriend. I mean, like, you're on the internet, and, like, I remember playing, and people would talk about, oh yeah, I got a girlfriend, and she's this, that, and the other. It's like, you don't have any, dude. You spend, like, all your time on World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
You don't have a girlfriend. Like, that's not possible. Like, unless she's coming over for like an hour a week and then leaving.
Yeah, like high five heads back.
Yeah. Good work.
I know.
But
you can only really play World of Warcraft, and I only really played it in the summertime, because it's like, you need to be on call all the time for these stupid, like, guild activities, and they need you. Like, they can't do it without you, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah. I used to play a game, Dark Age of Camelot, a lot. Like, I hit the highest, well, not the highest. The highest is realm rank 13, but I hit realm rank 12, which took, like, a substantial amount of effort and time and everything like that. And we had a couple girls in the group throughout the time, and it was one of those things where they were pretty good, and I enjoyed playing with them and stuff like that, through various times. But it's just weird, when you play. I played girl characters occasionally before, and I stopped pretty quickly because you always get these weird messages when people figure out that you're a girl. And it's just like they're sending dirty messages to you, and I'm just like, gross, dude. Like, I'm a guy, and I don't want to deal with that. Like, no, like, go away. I don't want to cyber with you or any of that stuff. It's like, that is so strange. And I got fed up with that pretty quicly. But
I think in general, just in the gaming community, no matter what the game is, it's hard to be kind of taken seriously as a consumer of games when you're sort of still the thing that's being consumed. Does that make sense? Like, girl characters are still, like, you're playing it for the sexy character, or you're saving the princess, or you're, like, looking at someone's butt, like Laura Croft's butt or whatever. So it's kind of hard to be taken seriously when you're the one behind the, trying to play the game, and, like, guys are still like, woo, like, sexy time in World of Warcraft, I guess. Like, girl with such big boobs, So,
well, it makes sense too. Like, I think guys feel most prone to be able to maybe be flirtatious or go after a girl in their like strongest environment. So, like, maybe like a football player might hit on a cheerleader or something, or someone who just saw him do very well at football. Since a lot of people,
Yeah. Like a musician after a show, those guys are the grodiest all the time because they're, like, so high up. They're like, I can do anything. I just play drums for a 30-person venue.
Drummers aren't a good example. They're not. Lead singer, guitarist. Drummers are. Drummers are kind of like roadies, I think. They don't.
Oh, that's so sad.
But,
What's yours, drummers?
well, no, drummers are good. Oh wait.
No. Finally,
uh, but yes, I think it makes sense too. Like partly that it's partly that the games can be very sexualized. So once guys are in a sexualized environment, if they find out there's actually a girl in that environment with them, they kind of treat her maybe overly just as a sexual object. But also, I think guys might be more prone to feel capable of like hitting on a girl in Warcraft because they're like, hey, maybe I've got good items, maybe I'm doing really well at this. Do you see I was a big part of that raid or something like that? Like at least this is the world where I'm good and I know what I'm doing here versus potentially somewhere else where they aren't great at football and they find themselves at a football game. I don't often go to football games. I would be less prone to maybe flirt with a girl at a football game.
Yeah, I mean they can shine and they can give gifts to this girl and they can talk to him by text, and it's completely anonymous. They don't have to worry about, oh, I'm ugly or I'm unattractive, and I mean, they may very well be attractive, but the fact is they don't have to worry about that, and that's something that I'm sure that a lot of people worry about. And it's just kind of like, in this environment, they don't have to worry about it. So,
yeah. I think just in general too, like game design and marketing, I think there is a larger percentage of girls than probably is perceived playing games. But just because it's just sort of this gender trope that guys like video games and girls like, I don't know, like making brownies, like or whatever, that even if there are girls, it's going to be like a ho, this is a very weird thing, But it's not really like, I think that there's also less hostile environments for girls to game, and like I do a lot of console gaming, and like no one comes in and is like, "Hey, girl," when I'm trying to like play Animal Crossing, like private messaging me, like, "You want some of this?" It's like, so there's just like easier ways to sort of get into gaming where you don't feel like you're being teased or like you're some kind of weird joke, or like if you make a mistake, it's blamed on you being a girl. It's like, oh yeah, like. It's because you're a girl. It's like, all right.
So I think that's a good segue into one of our other writers, Matt Severos, wrote an article on Kojima's tweets, which, if you don't know who Kojima is, that's the Metal Gear guy. He's the one who is kind of the creator of that series. So he's coming out with a new one called Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. And so he had a bunch of tweets that were kind of scandalous. And basically he said he's making the characters overly sexualized or more erotic. And he's continually telling the developers, oh, that needs to go more erotic. And, because and then he clarified later on by saying, oh, well, it's because, I want people to be able to do cosplay and
okay.
Yeah, I mean, just read the article, take a look at it. The point is that the direction that we want to be going with games, or is it already kind of like, kind of out there with that kind of stuff in video games? Like, is it? I think it's detracting from the story. But what do you think, David?
Well, yeah, I think it's not definitely nothing new because like Mortal Kombat. I'm trying to think. I wonder what the first scandalous game was. Like it had to be over like 20-something years ago at this point, 24. I don't know, early 90s, if not earlier. So yeah, it's definitely not a change of things, and I think he says it for like he says cosplay and also I guess encouraging toy sales, which I guess is also bigger in Japan. I know they do a lot more people have like action figures in Japan. It's getting bigger here, yeah, the cosplay thing I question. Because I know a lot of girls who like to cosplay things, but from like the images on we should put a link below to like the article on Ultimate Game Database. But like it would be hard to cosplay. You can cosplay maybe a Final Fantasy VII character, or whatever, and you have a nice outfit that looks different than normal styles you'd find, and it doesn't show 90% of your skin, so you don't have to be like you don't have to be. It's not like just for overweight people, but you don't have to be like a bikini model to pull it off, and what we're seeing here is pretty much something you'd have to be a bikini model to pull off, which limits a lot of cosplayers, because not just a healthy fitness. It's it's a not extreme fitness, but you have to be definitely very fitness oriented. And
I
that just
think
limits a lot of people.
And adding to that, it's like, okay, well, this is somebody that's making art. They don't necessarily know like normal proportions, so it's not like, it's not like this is going to be necessarily achievable.
Oh yeah, it
But
actually
anyways,
could
back
be
to you.
superhuman. Not even just a bikini model, beyond what even. Yeah, it actually probably is because you have flawless skin. They're not going to add scratches, scars, and stretch marks. They don't have it in the budget or something like that. We do it, but it just costs too much.
Audience really didn't
we're live filmed in front of a live studio audience today. But yeah, so like I do think that when he says it encourages cosplay, maybe it encourages boob base, base boob, base. What am I trying to say? Booth babes. So yeah, more fabric enabled. Like I could cosplay Superman because I just put a cape on and an S, and people are like, I recognize the symbols of Superman. If Superman was known only as a mostly ambiguous man who was like completely ripped six-pack and like a Speedo, it would be hard for me to pull that off because there's less visual symbols outside of just the physical flesh part of him, and I don't have a six-pack. And so I wouldn't really represent the largest icon of who he was. So yeah, I do think that's a poor argument on his part. But I do get why they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I would enjoy incorporating more female characters of every variety. Like, it doesn't just have to be a skimpy thing. It can be just, like, women in general, like, the percentage of them represented by female characters in games, even, like, in a fighting game is a good example, is low. And then also, too, like, if you want to make, if I was really interested in making the costume that he mentioned accurate and going to a thing, it's like if you do it completely accurate and I work out a ton, like I'm still gonna be like sexualized and maybe not in a fun way if I go to a like a convention or something. And that's
like
another
a Dragon Con or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's kind of a no-win situation. I look like a weird slutty gamer if I'm perfectly accurate with the costume, like I sew it by hand and like whatever. And so I think we don't need more like Tomb Raider butts and boobs. We sort of just need more women and to be represented, and with a good variety where like their main feature isn't just like huge tatas or something. So so I don't know that that's a really smart move on his part if he's trying to bring in more girl cosplayers. Like maybe he's just hoping to land like the woman of his dreams. Like I'm gonna make this beautiful woman, and whoever can. It's like a Cinderella thing. Whoever
That'd be a
looks
good
best.
move as a video game designer. You make the character in the game that you think is going to be popular, the ideal like version of a woman to you, and then hope that some convention she shows up.
Here she is.
That is like Cinderella.
Yeah,
Well-
that'd be a really good movie. All right, I don't know, good movie.
Well, I mean, like one big thing with this particular topic, the guy who did a bunch of the artwork for Halo and Bungie and Cortana and all that stuff, or it was just somebody who was on that team, very much spoke out against this. And he's like, this is kind of unacceptable, which is interesting because he actually got a lot of flack from the redesign of Cortana in Halo 4 because it was kind of more sexualized in the previous versions and stuff like that. So I mean, what is your guys' take from that? I mean, did you guys play Halo 5? 4? 5's coming out soon, but
I don't know if I've seen the design. I'm gonna Google it.
I do like, so his quote is, I don't care if this gets me in trouble. The character design is disgusting. Our industry should be better than this, is his quote. So I was like, that's not just like, oh, I don't know about that, guys. That is a good, strong disapproval. And, yeah, I haven't seen the new Cortana.
Yeah, she's pretty boobed out. I don't know. It looks like she has like body paint on. It doesn't really look like she has an outfit. If I were a cosplayer and loved this character, I would not do this. Like if I were going to convention, like I have a mother. Like I don't want anyone to be like I can see moles where I don't want to see moles. Like
well, and I mean, to be fair to the Halo franchise, I mean, Cortana's always been this electronic woman who has all kind of circuits going all over, so she hasn't ever really worn clothes, even from the earliest iterations to today. But I didn't, from an artistic point of view, I didn't really like the redesign of Cortana, to be honest, because it just turned her. She was kind of a petite AI that just was kind of on there and then would talk to you, and she had a cool voice and stuff like that. And they turned her into this like kind of more, I don't know, just she wasn't petite. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Curvy.
She was more curvy, and it just wasn't really. It's like that's not really Cortana. That's, I know that Master Chief's been in cryosleep for like a lot of years, but like I don't think that she's gained weight. I mean, she's electronic. Like
they have like burgers going directly in. Like, it's like,
But it is a good example of the future by our current standards. If you're going to make a computer program to help military men like navigate and whatnot, why not make her a super hot woman? If you're going to make a new Tomb Raider movie, why not make her a super hot? Like, make all the avatars and all the times the man has to interact with a computer, make the visualization of that a very attractive woman. Like, that's our current standard, and then in the future, we maintain it. Right? So it makes sense that both in the game and in our current, future trajectory, things stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, kind of moving on to our last point, because we only got a few minutes here. Do you think it's possible for girls to kind of break this mold of being over-sexualized and not really good at games and become like a professional gamer? Like, there are some professional gamers out there, but is this something that you think that girls can break the mold and become, awesome and become more like the main protagonist, kind of like in Mass Effect? You had an option; you could be female Shepard or male Shepard. Like, I think, is that the direction you think that games are going, or is it more sexualized? Sunday.
I mean, if we're looking at the current standard, like the guys, character redesign in Cortana, and it is getting flax. I think this is for, whatever reason, it's becoming a topic that people are more aware of, especially like at conventions where there's been a lot of like scandal with girls, trying to dress for their size and like still getting shit for it and things like that. So I think things are going to become a better environment, and I think what will probably cause more professional gaming girls to like appear, and they shouldn't even be called gaming girls, just because like gamers who happen to be girls, like, is if the atmosphere is less crappy for them, you know what I mean? If they feel like they're not being treated like, AI for like visual excitement, I think, the more that happens, the more girls will feel like, oh, it's not just a boys club, or like I don't have to be exceptional and really tough and thick-skinned to get into it. Like, I can just play anytime, and like no one's gonna be like, oh, girl, like on their mic or whatever. So I think it will get better, but as of right now, like, it's not great. I don't think I even personally know a lot of girls who are just like, I can't wait to play, this and this. And mostly it's just because, you do get that weird feeling like you're not that you're not welcome, but like even if you do play, you're going to be an exception. Like, you know what I mean? You have to be treated differently, or it's a very weird thing, or, for whatever.
Wow, you play video games? That's amazing. You want to be friends?
Yeah.
Man.
And then you feel like you have to, you're like, I don't know, overcoming some horrible obstacle, and it, you don't want to have to do that for something that's recreational and fun, and it can be competitive too, but like also something that you just want to sit down and do. Like, you don't want to have to deal with any of that when you come home like from work or whatever, and like, hence, Animal Crossing is my perfect example. No one bugs me on there. Like, I've never had one of the neighbors be like, a girl mayor.
A girl mayor.
So what do you think, David?
I think that it's in the hands of the entire community. So it's girls definitely need to not allow themselves to just be sexualized and things like that. Like, I was looking up Frag Dolls, I know is an all-girl like gamer team, and I was pretty proud. Like, they definitely don't dress frumpy, but they're not just showing cleavage all over the place. So like, if you try to get into an industry by maybe using the physical side, that hurts it. But I also think on kind of there are more men in the industry currently, so it's our job to be welcoming. We currently kind of, in a lot of ways dominate the industry, and so it's just being polite, but not too polite, just allowing someone to be another gamer in the industry, in the whatever realm you're in, whatever you're doing. Don't give them all this preference, and things like that. And it is tricky because it's definitely I've met girls on both sides of the spectrum. A lot of girls really appreciate the extra preference they get. So, figuring out, you just have to treat other people like another human being. Get to know them and treat them with respect, and understand that the video game industry is kind of over-sexualizing women and things like that, but so is the toothpaste industry and the car industry. So it's hard when that's what sells.
Sex sells.
But just as an individual, you personally, what you can do for yourself is respect the women that you meet, and it is tricky because I find women really attractive, and I do find that
that's a good thing.
And I find that women want to be found attractive. And I want to be found attractive by women, so it's not like either of us are demeaning each other to try to be found attractive, but you can find them attractive for things other than just having, 0% body fat, large butt, and large boobs. That you could also find her attractive because she has giant anime eyes. So you can be less shallow than that. no, but just to get to know people as a person, ask some questions, be polite, and stuff like that. Like, just don't be like. Don't offer to cyber or sex them when you find out that they're a girl on the internet. Like, it's not polite.
Yeah, and don't give them a whole bunch of stuff like, oh, here, take these, take these, take these, take these. It's like you're hurting, you're giving away all your stuff, and you're not really helping them become a normal person.
Well, that's happened outside of games for years as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
what were you gonna say, Sunday?
Tell me free stuff all the time. It's like, I don't need this pair of socks. You're a woman, you need it.
You need it. You'll get cold.
I want you to level up as a person. Yeah.
So I think. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think too. A lot of this does come down to, and I mean, it's such a huge thing because sex does sell. This is like designers maybe not realizing how many women are purchasing and playing games. I think there's like probably a larger number than is realized, and once I kind of embrace that, they'll probably sell more video games. Honestly, if there's more playable characters and women feel comfortable getting into it, like that's a whole nother set of people that could buy them. Like, there's nothing bad about that, and they could.
Yeah. Well, okay. We're out of time, but I think the final message that we have for everybody is that we need to kind of grow up as an industry and as a group, and just basically say, hey, girls are gamers and gamers are girls, and it's not about over-sexualizing them. And I think there's a lot of room on both sides, but I think, at least from my standpoint, I look at that tweet and I look at a lot of opinions, and I just say, I don't want that. I want a game to be good because it has a great storyline or because it's hard, not because it has this super hot babe that's playing the game.
That's another thing. Like, if DOA, like Dead or Alive or whatever, relies more on breast physics than good gameplay mechanics, the gamers suffer overall because we get a worse game because they feel like they can sell it if they put some big breasts on the cover, and so then we are getting an inferior product that's has a nice cover on it. So if we allow that, we get worse games because they're like, well, they'll buy it. There's some hot girls in there, and then we hurt ourselves.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, anyways, guys, thanks for joining us this week. Next week we'll have another wonderful discussion. I think next week we're going to do 2DS, talk about that and whether or not it's going to succeed or fail, and we're going to have a point counterpoint with George and Matt, who've both have very strong opinions on the matter. But thanks for joining us. Thanks, Sunday, for joining us for the first time. And David, thanks for being you. Thank you.
Oh wow! Oh, that's embarrassing.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we're out of here.
Oh.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and feel free to take a look at our website, www.ultimategamedb.com, and subscribe to our channel. We would love to see you there.
Definitely also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you like us or follow us, you'll be able to see when we're posting new shows and also a lot of articles. The Ultimate Game Database posts a lot of stuff on what games are coming out that week, how the consoles are doing in the console wars, a lot of fascinating stuff.
Yeah, so subscribe, like us, tweet us, and we will see you next week. Bye!